A whole lot of big popular characters have what are called legacy titles, meaning that their name can transfer from one character to another for a multitude of circumstances. Most commonly it's when one of them dies, or if they take a break, or they just want to retire from superheroing altogether. Sometimes the name goes to a former sidekick, or sometimes it goes to a friend, or sometimes it can even go to a villain, like in a recent example of when Lex Luthor is a new Superman. And also there's a bunch of other new Supermen at the time of this recording. But today I want to take a look at some of my personal favorite legacy titles, when a big character hands off their name to another awesome character. But remember, these are my personal favorites, so some ones that you like might not be on there. It's not an objective list, just let me have this. You'll have your time to complain and put your own in the comments at the end of the video. Let's be real, you've probably already started typing your comments. On to the video! I'm going to start this video off strong with good old Batman. Now, it was strange when Azrael filled in during Nightfall, and I actually enjoyed Commissioner Gordon's brief stint as the Dark Knight, but there is only one true successor to the cape and cowl. The first Robin, Dick Grayson. Now, I'm going to be focusing on when Dick took over when Bruce was stuck hurtling through time, not Nightfall. Mostly because I just love how well he worked with Damian Wayne. Dick is hands down the true heir to the cowl, and a lot of that is because, as a character, he's Bruce Wayne if he didn't have to work as hard for training and had some semblance of a family as he grew up. What's interesting though is that at first, he didn't even want to be Batman, and that's one of the many reasons why Battle for the Cowl is one of my all-time favorite Bat Family stories. As Batman, Dick took Bruce's son Damian under his wing as Robin. Although the two butted heads at first, they grew extremely close, and their current interactions are absolutely adorable! I seriously wouldn't have been upset if they had permanently killed off Bruce Wayne and let Grayson keep dicking around as Batman. While we're on the subject of the Bat Family though, the Robins are an amazing example of how to do legacy titles for sidekicks right. Each of the Robins were unique with their own personalities, skills, and histories, so when they all moved into their solo careers, they feel more like well-rounded characters. I actually did a video about all of the Robins a while back, so if you want to learn more about all of them and see just how far my videos have come, then I highly encourage you to check it out. One last thing before we get off the bats though. While I want to stay away from alternate universe stuff in this video, which is why I'm not going to be talking about Miles Morales even though I love him as Spider-Man, I have to give a huge shout out to Terry Mcginnis. Look, it's no secret that I am a huge fan of Batman Beyond, and Terry skipping the whole Robin process with Bruce guiding him every step of the way is fun in both the show and the many Batman Beyond comics. I seriously wish there were more delightful contrasting duos like this in the comic book world in general. Okay, now for something a little controversial. I like Jane Foster as Thor, and I am not afraid to say it. Look, people are pissy that the Thor they know and love isn't using the hammer anymore, but I like the fresh take on this part of the Marvel Universe. Plus, I love the duality of her life, considering that she is literally dying from cancer, but all the chemotherapy is worthless since the hammer purges her of toxins whenever she transforms, meaning that she can't get better and she is still dying. To make things even more complex, she represents Midgard, aka Earth, on the Congress of Worlds, but she's also wanted by Odin for apparently stealing Mjolnir from his son. Her books are good, but Jane Foster gets such a bad rep online from people who have never even read comics and are simply reacting to the fact that the evil SJWs are ruining Thor by replacing him with a girl even though those people probably don't read comics in the first place. So, hey, Blue Beetle. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that Blue Beetle isn't a character that I read extensively, and that's mostly because he's typically a supporting character. However, one thing I've always really liked about the three Beetles is that each one is very, very different from the others. Dan Garrett used the Blue Beetle Scarab and its magical properties to fight crime with super strength, durability, flight, and energy blast. You know, pretty typical stuff. His protege, on the other hand, Ted Kord, couldn't get the Scarab to work for him, so he fought crime with gadgets and martial arts, like a Blue Batman. The current Blue Beetle is the one that y'all know from Young Justice, Jaime Reyes. He's even more different, with the Scarab turning into an advanced alien warsuit, complete with advanced AI, kind of like a blue Iron Man with wings.
Just the fact that we can get such drastically different characters from the same core concept is absolutely amazing to me. Okay, now another comic that many of you guys know that I am in love with is Superior Spider-Man, where a dying Dr. Octopus swaps bodies with Peter Parker, but upon the old switcheroo, Doc Ock learns the famous lesson of power and responsibility. As he holds his old dying body in his arms and Peter fades from the earth, Ock vows to be a better Spider-Man than Peter ever was. He's going to be a superior Spider-Man. Now, I have talked ad nauseum about this book on my Where to Start Spider-Man video, but to quickly explain why I enjoy this run so much, I just love how Superior Spidey uses villain tropes as a hero, such as henchmen, and I also like how Ock tries to balance Peter's crazy life and learns that it's not as easy as it seems. It's difficult being a hero, lover, friend, nephew, going back to school, and running a tech startup all at the same time. It's kind of like trying to run 2 YouTube channels while trying to write for other channels, have a social/love life, and trying to keep healthy all at once. I can tell ya, it's hard. Oh, and speaking of Spider-Man, I really like the 2011 run of Scarlet Spider. The original Scarlet Spidey was Ben Reilly, a clone of Peter Parker from a storyline that is so convoluted that we cannot go into it during this video. Needless to say, he dies, and the Scarlet Spider legacy goes to another Spider-Man clone named Kane. The official tagline for this series was, "All of the power, none of the responsibility." Kane didn't initially want to be a hero, but kind of had to because of crazy random happenstances. But it was awesome seeing him evolve into a hero in and of his own right. This was a surprisingly great read, and that's coming from someone who knew absolutely nothing about the character before hopping in. Next up, Wally West. Starting off as Kid Flash, Wally took over for Barry Allen after his supposed death during Crisis on Infinite Earths. Wally was the Flash for around 20 years, and for entire generations of comic book readers, this was their Flash. In fact, the Flash from the Justice League cartoon show, that was Wally, not Barry. While Barry Allen is still my favorite Flash, Wally was able to do more with the Speed Force than any other speedster that we've seen in the DC comics, and we also saw his family life's origins to full fruition. It really sucked to see this version of Wally West vanish when the New 52 started, but it is amazing to have him back with the Rebirth, and that he's a Flash again like he deserves to be. None of that Kid Flash nonsense. Wally earned that title, and it is awesome that he gets to keep it. Okay, now we have Falcon as Captain America, or as I like to call him, Captain Falcon. For years, Falcon was Cap's sidekick, and never really got taken seriously as a standalone character. But when Steve Rogers was drained of his super soldier serum, Falcon stepped in as his replacement. Outside of dealing with racial issues, Sam Wilson doesn't exactly play by the rules, especially with S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been very critical of many government decisions, and that does not win him a lot of points with some of the average citizens in America. Though he's still a proper captain in his own right, so much so that once Steve Rogers got better, the two of them got to be Captain America at the same time.
But Drake, why are you talking about Falcon instead of Bucky Barnes? Bucky Barnes is a way better Captain America than Sam Wilson, how dare you? Guys, this is a confession. I didn't read the story arcs where Bucky Barnes was Captain America. I read a lot of comic books all the time. My list is huge and my backlist is huge. I want to read it. I want to read all that stuff. I just haven't yet. That's why Falcon's on this list instead of Bucky. Okay, please stop. Next character.
I'll admit that I haven't read a whole lot regarding the Question, and I got most of my exposure to him from the Justice League cartoon, but the subplot between him and Renee Montoya in the storyline 52 went from one that I barely cared about to one of my absolute favorites in this really crazy intertwined story. I really enjoyed the mystery and action they went through, and even though I'm trying to avoid spoilers because it is a great read, I have to give you this little detail because when the Question died and he passed on the identity to Montoya, it was such a punch in the feels that, I love it. I'd like to end things off with the current Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. This girl is funny, cute, sassy, has fun powers, and her books are quality. Now, the original Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers, is a character that I've mostly been keeping up with after she became Captain Marvel, so I can't speak much for her older days. But what I can say is that Kamala is fantastic. This is one of my favorite characters of the past few years. She's basically a superhero fangirl who also becomes a superhero, and that basically writes itself, which it does. Even though it's great to see more Pakistani heroes in comics, Kamala is a great role model for pretty much everyone, and features stories that are chock full of social commentary, especially regarding what it's like to be a millennial. A lot of this stuff hits home pretty hard, and I'm just really glad that we have Kamala in this current age when we needed her the most.
And there you go, some of my personal favorite Legacy characters in comic books. I couldn't fit all the ones that I liked in here, but this is probably the creme de la creme of mine. Did I leave any out that you guys are a big fan of? Well, then let me know in the comments. I'm actually very excited to see if I missed some awesome characters, because like I mentioned, I want to read Bucky, and there are other characters that I do want to read up on. I just haven't had time, but I'm always looking for things to add to my backlog. But hey, thank you for watching this video, and if you want to see more, then please consider subscribing. It would be nice, you get updated whenever my videos come up, if the YouTube subscription algorithm isn't entirely broken. And also, sorry about the audio quality, my microphone broke, that's not good. But that actually is a great segue into, hey guys, would you like me to make better videos? Well, if you think that these videos are worth a damn, then please consider checking out my Patreon. I've got all sorts of awesome perks and rewards for you guys to help support me, and I can make better videos. And the money goes to good things like upgrading the set and buying a new microphone, because I could use one of those right now. Yup. But seriously, this is my way of giving back to you guys and for you guys to be able to directly support me so I can make better, higher quality content more often, and yay. That's the usual pitch that you hear every YouTuber say, but please go check it out. I'm gonna stop rambling now. I'm very tired. I haven't eaten today. Bye.